Now to Arsene Wenger, who's outlining his controversial proposals for the World Cup to take place every 2 years this lunchtime. Let's head live now to our reporter, Kaveh Solhekol, who's in Warsaw for us. Look, Kaveh, a lot of intrigue ahead of this. And what's likely to be Wenger's key points for having this World Cup every 2 years, which has got everyone talking, hasn't it?
Well, look, Arsene Wenger, who's FIFA's global head of football development now, really thinks this is a fantastic idea. He wants to rearrange the whole football calendar. He thinks it's too complicated at the moment. Players at one point are playing for their clubs, then they've got to travel to play for their countries. So what he wants to do is streamline the whole international match calendar. And he thinks that what it would mean is that players would travel a lot less and they would play in fewer qualifiers. And instead of having the situation we have now, where there are 5 international windows during the year, there would only be 1 or 2 international windows. So you would only have qualifiers, for instance, in the month of October. The rest of the time, the players would be with their clubs. And he also thinks it's a great idea to have a World Cup every 2 years. And also, that would mean that we would also have a Euros every 2 years. So at the end of every season in May, there would be a major tournament, a Euros or a World Cup. And after that, FIFA think that players would be given a guaranteed 25 days off. That would be a guaranteed rest period for them. Obviously, these plans and proposals are very controversial, especially in Western Europe. You have to bear in mind, yes, we hear a lot here in Western Europe about how clubs, leagues, players are against it. But when you're talking about FIFA, you have to think globally, because away from Western Europe, a lot of people are in favour of these proposals. And of course, we've got to be realistic. FIFA needs to make money, it needs to increase its revenues, and it makes far more money in a World Cup year than it does at any other time of the year. For instance, 2018, when they had the World Cup in Russia, I think FIFA's revenues that year were $4.5 billion. In a non-World Cup year, their revenues are something like $700 million. So cynics will say the reason FIFA want to do this is because they want to increase their revenues. They make a lot more money in World Cup years than they do in other years.
How likely is this, Kaveh, to happen, do we think, at this moment in time? Because, as I said, lots of opposition to the idea over here in the UK, but is there a feeling that it would still go through anyway?
I think there's a real chance that this is going to happen. You have to bear in mind there are 211 football associations and football federations in FIFA. They are football associations and football federations from all around the world, 211 of them, and they will all get a vote on this before the end of the year. Now, there's already been a vote into whether to hold a feasibility study into this idea, and 166 of those 211 voted in favour of the feasibility study. So that gives you an idea that the majority of the football associations around the world are in favour of this. I know, on the one hand, you will hear people like Arsene Wenger saying it is a great idea, but I would say that also bear in mind that money talks. Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, of course, used to be the UEFA General Secretary. And when he was at UEFA, he saw UEFA's books and he could see that because of the Champions League, the Europa League and the Euros, UEFA typically in a normal year makes around $3 or $4 billion. Much more money than FIFA makes. Now he's at FIFA, he's had a look at the books, and people are saying he wants to make FIFA as rich as UEFA, and the easiest way to do that is to have more World Cups.
OK, Kaveh, it'll be fascinating to see what happens. Thanks so much.